Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Kyra, and if you're not new here, my name is still Kyra. Here on this channel, we love makeup with a passion, but we're not necessarily here for Instagram fame or editorial looks. We're here for real makeup, for real life, and real people like us. Today's video is one that I think of on and off all year whilst making makeup empties. I love to do this video at the end of every year where I talk about my makeup empties from that year and in comparison to the previous year. How many did I finish this year? What does that look like compared to last year? And what are my thoughts on that? So we're gonna go ahead and get into it today, starting with the most important step of any person's skincare or beauty routine, and that is sunscreen. I finished 4 sunscreens this year, and I'm about to finish a sample one, but it won't be included in this video. And 2 of those are the Coats Face Moisture Lightly Tinted Sunscreen SPF 35. I really enjoy this. This is a great formula. You can purchase this at Ulta. I also really enjoy the Paula's Choice Resist Super Light Daily Wrinkle Defense Broad Spectrum SPF 30. And my newest discovery, thanks to my girl Angela, is the Bliss Blockstar Invisible Daily Sunscreen SPF 30. And all 3 of these are tinted. I like a tinted sunscreen. Feel like it works into the skin beautifully and gives a little bit of an evening out of my overall skin tone. So on days where I'm not wearing makeup, I still feel a little bit more human. So 4 sunscreens this year. That's about 1 every 3 months. And I think that's pretty appropriate for the amount that I should be using on a daily basis. And for sunscreen, that is the one category I did not track last year, so we'll have to wait until next year to see how things compare. So moving on to primer, I finished 6 this year, and those were the Too Faced Primed in Peachy Cooling Matte Skin Perfecting Primer. This is a mini size. Then I had a sample of the Charlotte Tilbury Wonder Glow Instant Soft Focus Beauty Glow Primer. This was pretty good. I also finished off the Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer in a sample size. And then the last sample is the HelloFab Coconut Skin Smoothie Priming Moisturizer. Definitely a favorite. Never bought the full size, but I've finished countless tubes of the samples. I also finished my mini of the Tatcha The Silk Canvas. Definitely a beautiful primer. And probably my biggest accomplishment of this year, and I never put it in a project. It's one of those unofficially panning type of situations. If you're your panner, you know. But I did finish off my full size of the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. And it's beautiful. For primer, I finished 5 in 2020, and I think that's pretty fair. It's pretty average for me, especially considering samples versus full size. So I feel pretty good about the fact that I used up 6 this year and 5 last year. For foundation, I finished 2 this year. One was this sample of the Dior Backstage Face and Body Foundation. This took a surprising number of uses to actually finish. A little bit of this seems to go a long way. And I did end up buying a full size based on my experience with that. And then the second one is the L'Oreal Infallible Longwear Shaping Stick Foundation. And I really enjoyed this one as well. Last year, I finished 2 foundations as well, so that seems to be about average for me. Next year in 2022, I am definitely hoping to finish off more foundations. If you missed it, over on my Instagram, I talked about how I recently had a foundation go bad on me. And that's just proof that 17 foundations is way too many. Now 4 of those are samples, and I do plan to work those out of my collection next year. Learn from my mistakes, I guess. For concealer, I finished 3 this year. I finished the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Away Concealer. Then I finished the Hello Fab Bendy Avocado Concealer, as well as a sample of the Tarte C Hydro Sealer. I also finished 3 concealers last year, so that's about average again for me, and I feel good about that. I'd like to, again, see this number go up for next year. I do have quite a few sort of well-loved and getting older in my collection concealers, so I'm going to start focusing on those right away in 2022. The next one is one I found quite interesting, and that was powder. Last year I finished 5, and this year I finished 1, and it is the number 7 Perfect Light Pressed Powder. This one happened to be the translucent shade. Yeah, it surprised me that I only went through 1 powder this year, but I also acquired a few new powders this year, as well as I feel like rotated really well through the powders that I had this year. So that meant that I got more usage overall on my powders and less dedicated focus on any one powder. So I only used up 1, but that is 1 less. Again, another one that I find interesting, this year I finished 1 setting spray. I'm pretty close on a couple of others, but I've finished 1. And last year I finished 4. I definitely have stepped away a little bit from this setting spray. I'm more interested in using a setting spray for longevity. This is the Milani Make It Last Fruit Fetish in the Mango Coconut scent. Amazing. I'm working on a second one now. So I'm looking more for longevity from my setting sprays now versus just setting down powders and things like that. So I'm by default using less setting spray. For bronzer, this year I finished 2. My Hollywood Contour Wand from Charlotte Tilbury, as well as my Tarte Park Ave Princess mini bronzer here. And I feel really good about these. I feel like it took a long time, pretty much all year of working on these to finish them. And I did only finish 1 bronzer in 2020. So this number actually went up this year, which I'm always glad to see. And, you know, it just makes me realize that I really need to slow down on purchasing bronzers and start getting some use out of my bronzers and finishing them. For blush, I had 0 finished last year and 0 finished this year, unfortunately. I was really close on my cream blush to finishing it this year, but the formula started to change and it became nearly impossible to get onto my cheeks. So I let it go and just called it quits on blush for this year. So I'd like to see this number be at least 1 next year. This year I also finished 0 highlighters, and last year I finished 1. So definitely would like to see this number go up next year and start getting some really good usage, start seeing some pans in those highlighters. And I think that that will be easier because overall I have slowed way down on purchasing highlighters. I just think so many of them look the same, and I like kind of a similar thing from all of my highlighters, which is more of a glow from within versus a glaring stripe on my cheek. So hopefully that means next year I'll start getting some really good use out of my highlighters. For brows, this year I finished 4. I finished 1 pencil completely, and I finished 3 gels. Now I suspect, I don't have proof, but I suspect that I also finished off a NYX Microbrow pencil this year. In fact, I know I did, but I can't find it. Somehow it did not end up in my year-long makeup empties, so we're just gonna say 4 because that's what I have recorded. But I finished off the CoverGirl Ultrafine Brow Pencil in the shade Soft Brown. This was not a favorite, would not repurchase. I also finished off an e.l.f. Wow Brow in the shade Neutral Brown. This is definitely a favorite for a tinted brow gel. I much prefer it to the next one, which is the Essence Make Me Brow in the shade 03 Soft Brownie Brows. And then a brand new favorite clear brow gel this year is the Kosas Air Brow in the clear shade. I really enjoy this. It is also said to have ingredients that are really good and nourishing for your brows, and I can report that I feel like my brows have been much healthier since using this one. So I do have a backup. However, I'm going to use a different clear brow up first before I get into my new Kosas. But for this year for brows, last year I finished 6. That sounds about right. I tend to go through a couple of brow pencils every year and a small handful of brow gels, both tinted and clear. I feel pretty good about that. That's not a category that I buy in excess of, and so I'm just fine. One thing I did find really interesting, however, is that I finished 7 mascaras this year, and I finished 7 last year. So exact same number of mascaras. That includes a couple of sample sizes here. I did finally try the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Push Up Lashes mascara this year. Fell in love with it. I currently have the full size. Then I also tried out the Smashbox Superfan Fanned Out Mascara. Not a fan. I'm not a fan of the Superfan. Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect. Love this. This is the one with the green tube. CoverGirl Exhibitionist. Definitely still a favorite for me from last year. e.l.f. Lash It Loud mascara. I am on my 2nd tube of this, and I absolutely love this. It will keep it in my collection. And then I believe this one came with me from 2020 into 2021, and this is the L'Oreal Air Volume Mega Mascara. It was pretty good. Not a repurchase for me. And then lastly, the L'Oreal Voluminous Original Mascara in the shade Burgundy. This is just so fun. It's something that I really get a kick out of when I have it in my stash. So as far as mascaras go, you know, sometimes it's a little higher, sometimes it's a little lower. It just depends on the mascaras. If a mascara starts not performing for me anymore, I call it quits and I move on to the next mascara. Life is too short for me to be frustrated with my eyelashes after all the work that I put into the rest of my face. You know, there it is. Some I will use until the last drop, and some I will just let them go on their merry way once I feel like, you know, they're done. For eyeshadow bases, I finished 1 this year and I finished 1 last year. This is a deluxe sample of the NARS Smudge Proof eyeshadow base in the, this is just the sheer non-pigmented one, and I finished 1 last year, so that's par for the course there. For eyeshadow, I finished 1 liquid eyeshadow this year, and last year I finished 1 eyeshadow stick, so no powder eyeshadows. I would love to see that change for this coming year. But this is the e.l.f., I believe it's their glitter liquid shadow in the shade Flirty Birdie. It doesn't look like it's gone, but if I look inside, I can't see the product, and nothing comes out on the wand no matter how I try to swirl it in there. So I'm calling that one finished. Always one of my biggest categories for finishing is lip balm. I have a very clear addiction to lip balm, and that's okay. I'm okay with that, but I always have to have something on my lips. So I go through a lot of lip balm every year, and this year was no exception. Starting off, I ended up with 2 different samples of the Agave Intensive Lip Mask from Bite Beauty. Love this stuff. It's very thick. If you like that, I definitely recommend it. I would consider repurchasing this. I also finished a sample size and a full size of the Bite Beauty Agave Nighttime Lip Therapy. I did not just use this at night. I love this stuff. Probably my #1 favorite lip balm of life. However, just about tied, but slightly underneath, are the Fresh Sugar lip balms. These are the potted ones. I have here the coconut and the peach, and these are both lovely. Really enjoy this lip balm. I'm very picky about lip balm. I don't want anything on my lips that's going to leave any kind of a texture or a film behind. that feels waxy, things like that. So I'm very picky about lip balm, so you can trust my opinion. I also finished off this Tarte Jelly Glaze Anytime Lip Mask in Strawberry Jelly. It was actually pretty good, better than I thought it would be. I know I've also finished a couple of other flavors of this, scents really actually. And this is the Lanolips 101 Ointment Multi-Balm. And this is the one in strawberry. I know I finished a peach one this year as well. I definitely would consider repurchasing those in the future because that's the kind of thing I'd rather like stick in my pocket if I'm going out or going somewhere. I don't want to be sticking my fingers that are possibly covered in COVID into little jars and stuff. So I do like to have some kind of a stick or squeeze type lip balm in my stash at all times. I did try the Revlon Kiss Balm for the first time this year and really enjoyed it. I got the tropical coconut scent. And then my most recent finish, actually I have one downstairs now that I think of it. I'm not going to go get it. But this is a mini of the Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask. This is the scent Sweet Candy, and it was really lovely. I don't know, it smells really good. Also downstairs, I have the lemon one. My bestie, who I think thinks I'm crazy for how much lip balm I use, and I am crazy. So she got me a 5-pack of these, and I have 5 different scents of this. So I finished this one, and I just finished the lemon one last night. Last year, it says I only finished 5 lip balms. That might have been just what I kept last year because I guarantee I went through more than that, but it's hard to say. Moving on to colored lip products, I finished 1 lip liner this year. This is the Milani Understatement lip liner in the shade Nude Entrance. Love, love, love. I've almost completely used up my second one and I will repurchase it. This is just like my perfect nude. It's not too warm. It's definitely not cool. And it's just, it's very creamy. It applies beautifully. It's not too creamy. However, it is decently long lasting on the lips. And I just love this. I think it's phenomenal. And last year I finished 0 lip liners. I would like to finish off a couple of my older lip liners this year, so we'll see if that happens. For the lipstick, I finished 3 this year. I finished my little mini Tom Ford lipstick in the shade Indian Rose. Just roll it all the way up so you can see the color, but she's all gone. And I'm glad that I moved that one out. It's a beautiful piece of makeup, and I'm glad I got the use out of it before it went bad. Also finished off this Afterglow lip balm from NARS. This is a mini that came the birthday gift this year in the shade Laguna. I finished this one all up. And I also finished off my favorite L'Oreal Color Riche Shine lipstick in the shade Rosewood. And I will definitely repurchase this once I finish up my Revlon lipstick in a similar shade. So last year I finished 5 lipsticks instead of 3. So I would really like to concentrate on some lipsticks this year and work on moving them out of my collection. Maybe some of my older ones, maybe some of my littler mini lipsticks. Because I'm not a big fan of mini lipsticks. I just find that they break off and they end up being a pain in the butt. So let's talk lip gloss, however. This year I finished 5. So I did finish off the e.l.f. lip lacquer in the shade Clear. It was pretty good, not my favorite. Also finished off the Ofra lip gloss in the shade Cherry Mocha. And also the Maybelline Lifter Gloss in the shade Topaz, which is a dupe for Fenty Glow, as well as my ColourPop Luxe Lip Oil in the shade Blossom Out. And lastly, my Fenty Gloss Bomb in the shade Sweet Mouth. Something's sticky. Last year I finished 3 lip glosses, so I feel really good about these. I'm really close on quite a few other lip glosses, so I'll be honing in on those in 2022 for sure. Last year, I finished a total of 51 products in my collection, which I felt really good about. This year, I finished 52. So one more product this year than last year, but I think that shows that I'm averaging about 50 products a year that I'm finishing up, some sample size, some full size, and you know, that varies obviously. But overall, I feel really good about the makeup that I finished up this year. I always hope it's more. Again, this coming year, I'm going to be shooting to finish at least one product in every category. So I'm going to have to nail myself down on a blush and a highlight that I want to pan completely next year. Let me know if you have any suggestions down below. That's what I got for you today. I really love kind of taking stock of my collection in this way each year. It's just a different way, I guess, of looking at numbers and usage. And I think it also shows, you know, that I think the most I finished up in any one category was lip balm at 11 this year. But if you're talking about makeup products, you know, 7 mascaras I went through this year. But then the categories where the numbers were the lowest, obviously 0 for blush and highlight, but I only finished 1 powder, 1 setting spray, 1 eye base, 1 liquid eyeshadow, 1 lip liner. Those are the categories then that I need to watch and make sure I'm not over consuming or buying too much makeup, because I'm not using very many of them up. So I just think this is another way to take stock of your collection and, you know, see what your usage looks like. And a lot of times that gives you a better picture at where you need to slow down purchasing in your collection. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, this little casual video with the whole top knot and everything. I really enjoy bringing you guys this kind of content, and you guys seem to really like it too. As always, if you ever have video requests or suggestions, leave those down in the comments for me, because I always take snapshots of those, screenshots, whatever you want to call them, and then I go back and look at them when I am planning my schedule for each month of what I want to film. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season, no matter how you celebrate or what you celebrate. And I hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful makeup days. And I will see you in my next video very, very soon.